Tim Plewman is back with his Broadway Smash musical, Defending the Caveman. It's starting off at the Baxter Concert Hall. That's on the 23rd of June, and he's here to tell us more. The man with the many hats. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. I'm delighted to be here on this early winter's day.
It is so cold
Isn't
outside.
It? I brought a friend with me. I was going to take him out because...
Is that the caveman?
This is the caveman,
right.
And there he is. He sits with me on stage every night, you know. He's a bit of an unfriendly fellow, but there he is. Hello, morning all. All right, there he is.
This man has been around for a while.
Yes, he's been around since 1997.
Take us back.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to come back, we're going to forward a bit, but we start back to 1997.
Yeah.
When you adapted it.
Yes.
What was it about the story that attracted you to this institution now that is defending the game?
Well, we can hear it. This is in the background. You can hear this. That's the sort of sounds we play on stage because this is the story. You know, you better stop it now because otherwise I'll fall asleep. I'll start doing the show. But the caveman is what the great concept of caveman is. It explains the difference between men and women.
Yeah.
You know, and all couples, we believe that the problems that we have with each other are 90% ours alone. We don't think that. When you come and see Defending the Caveman, you suddenly realize everybody has the same thing. Yeah. So, well, then it's not such a problem. It's been described as the greatest date comedy of all time.
Yeah.
And it's 2 hours, 10 minutes of constant laughter.
Right.
And most guys go out with bruised ribs because their wives sit there and do this the whole way through the show. You know? So that's you. You do that.
Yeah. I mean, you're quoted as one article that I was reading that it's not the men are from Mars, typical. No. You know, how is this one different?
Well, it's our stories. It's what we are. You know, all those books are written from a philosophical point of view, from from a doctor or somebody saying, yes, this is what they think are. This is about real people. This is about an oak who comes home and he meets these. He suddenly had this epiphany. He suddenly understands what's going on, and he arrives, and there's this bunch of people that he just wants to tell about this incredible journey that he's been on of discovery of the difference between men and women. And it's not putting down. The point about cavemen is not saying one is better. It explains the difference. It doesn't say, you know, you're lousy and we're good, or I'm better than, it's not about that. It's about this is what we do because we're men. Understand that. We're not trying to do it to make you angry. We're men. You know, that's what we do.
You can go fishing.
And you do this. Yeah, fishing. Fishing's a great one because we can sit there for 3 hours and not talk.
Yeah.
So that's good.
All right. And why do you think this concept has worked so well and it's continued to, perform to sold out audiences over the years? Clearly something is right here.
That's why. Because it's about people. And it's about every person. We're all human beings, everybody. And if you've ever been in a relationship or you ever think you're going to be in a relationship, then you need to come and see Defending the Caveman. Yeah. Because your understanding of what life is going to present to you suddenly becomes incredibly clear, Yeah. So it's that. It's the touchstone of what we are. And it's so funny. The point is it's hysterically funny besides anything else. So it's therapeutic. If laughter is the best medicine, believe me, Defending the Caveman adds 15 minutes to your life.
Now, here's one thing. You were quoted as saying that some people even told me that watching this show helped save their marriages. Yeah. And in an extraordinary case, even brought a divorced couple back together to remarry. And they're seen as they play together as friends. Yes.
Well, what happened was the guy, I got this whole message sent to me, a guy, when he heard I was doing Caveman again here. And so he said, look, incredible story. I was divorced and a couple bought seats and took me to see the show. And I'm by myself, me and a couple. I saw the show and I sent my ex-wife a ticket. I said, go and see the show. So she came and see the show, and she phoned me up. She got home that night, phoned me up and said, I understand.
Yeah.
So then they came to see the show together, and they remarried.
Alan Committee, where was he? How did
Alan
he become?
Came in and did the show. I did the show for 9 years, 9.5 years. And then I stopped doing it, and I handed it over to Alan Committee. And so then Alan's been doing the show for this period of time, and beautifully. And then about 6 months ago, the international producers of Caveman, who do it in Europe and America and own the rights, phoned me up and said, would I come back and do it? And I said, okay, well, I'll come back and do it for a couple of years, because they wanted my performance back, what I did. So that's how that came about. And I'm really excited at the moment, because we're doing, as you said, we're opening in Cape Town the 23rd of next week, end of next week rather, 23rd of June till the 4th of July, 10 shows only. Then I'm going to Grahamstown Festival.
Oh, that's exciting.
For 6th, 7th and 8th. They've asked me to come to do 3 shows there, which I was delighted about. And then I'm doing the Centurion Theatre in Centurion on the 22nd of July for 2 weeks. Then off to the Hilton Festival in Maritzburg, and then Maritzburg. Then I'm coming off and doing Zimbabwe and Namibia. And I'm back here in town in Johannesburg. And I'm really happy about November the 9th to December the 24th. And at the Victory Theatre in Houghton, which is the most beautiful theatre.
Busy.
Yeah, but that's the one I'm looking forward to. Well, I'm looking forward to all of them. But Joburg is my hometown, and it's a great Christmas present besides anything else. So yeah.
Let's talk about the theatre and the space that you've been in, the space where you found home and solace in theatre. Let's go back to the first production that you did. Which one stands out?
Of all my productions?
Yeah. When you started out in the theatre business?
Well, I started off in musicals as a young guy, because I didn't know how to get in. So I started off as in doing musicals in young small parts and that sort of stuff. My first play I did for Peter Tureen, a play called Happy Birthday, and I took over the role in 48 hours from a guy from England who had filled out. And but over the years, I've done some remarkable bits of theatre. I've been in the business for nearly 40 years now. And but the ones that stand out, things like Heel Against the Head with Bill Flynn and Paul Slabolewski. What a play, man. It's World Cup 95. I directed it with Bill and Paul. It's still one of the highlights, ran for 3 years. Huge shows. What else have I done? I wrote, of course, I've written a lot of plays. So I wrote Breakfast with Dad with Rex Garner. Another huge play that was
how was The Last Moustache?
The Last Moustache I did last year. That was a wonderful play. Greg Viljoen wrote. A very talented South African writer and producer. A very funny play about a very serious subject.
Yes.
And believe me, when you've been in theatre as long as I have, to have an opportunity to play Adolf Hitler on stage being funny is a challenge. So it was a wonderful show. Wonderful
for everybody. But then the one-handers, would you say those are your element when you're in your element in the one-handers?
Well, it's become that way. I used to do a lot of farces and comedies with Rex and Gordon and all those guys. We used to do all the Ray Cooney farces and all those things. And then I did my first one. I always thought that doing a one-man show was kind of like the epitome of the art. You know, if you can hold an audience in your hands for 2 hours by yourself on stage, you're doing something right. And it's a funny story.
I still think so.
Well, so I did a play called Low Mood by the Box, which was written by a New Zealand playwright after we beat them in the World Cup. So, I did that for a while, and I thought, wow, that's it. I've done my one-man play. They're tough. And then Caveman came along. And I did Caveman, and initially we thought Caveman would run about 6 months.
Here
we are 15 years later. But I've done it, and thank goodness what I do is I go away and do other things, and then I come back to Caveman, always. But Caveman is such a gem. It is such a gem of a play that it's just got legs, and I'm really so looking for it. I did 2 shows at Empress Palace. Okay. I thought I'd just start slowly, again, and I had 1,800 people come, and they just fell off their chairs. So I'm delighted to be back.
1,800 people. That's not a small crowd. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you guys.
Good
thank
luck.
You so much.
Sound like you're going to be very busy.
Well, I'm so
hopefully
looking forward to it.
I get to see you in Grahamstown.
Absolutely.
I have to see you in Grahamstown. Well, actor, writer, director, theatrical entrepreneur Tim Plewman speaking to us about Defending a Caveman, which is heading to the National Arts Festival in Grahamstown. But before then, they're in Cape Town at the Baxter. So head out to there if you can't make it to Grahamstown. Let's take a night break. Stay with us.